applications support.
Let me take the microphone off mute. Welcome to Let's Talk About It. This is number 16 and it is for the 29th of May 2024. So as usual, we're going to go through some of the recent industry news and cybersecurity things, devices that you might need to patch. So some of the things that we're going to look at, we're going to be looking at Checkpoint, Foxit PDF, Fortinet, Cisco, WordPress, TP-Link, Cisco. So there's quite a few articles to cover here. We've got quite a bit to go over. So I'll try and, as usual, keep it as a brief and just an overview as we can. So the first thing we should look at is, let's move this over. Checkpoint. So this article's from Bleeping Computer, and it was released today at 9:30 a.m. Checkpoint releases emergency fix for VPN 0-day exploited in attacks. So Checkpoint has released hot fixes for a VPN 0-day vulnerability exploited in attacks to gain remote access to firewalls and attempt to breach corporate networks. So on Monday, the company first warned about a spike tags in VPN devices, sharing recommendations on how admins can protect their devices. Later, it discovered the source of the problem, a 0-day flaw that attackers exploited against its customers. And this is tracked as CVE 2024-24919. So the vulnerability potentially allows an attacker to read certain information on internet-connected gateways with remote access, VPN, or mobile access enabled. So the hotfixes are already out. To apply the update, head over to Security Gateway portal, software updates, available updates, hotfixes, and click install. So Checkpoint's released the following security updates to address the flaw in the Quantum Security Gateway and Cloud Guard Network Security. Release 81.2, 81.1, and 18.40. Quantum Maestro and Quantum Scalable Chassis and Quantum Spark Gateways. So if you are running Checkpoint, it's strongly advised that you go ahead and update. Hotfixes have also been made for end-of-life versions too, but you'll have to download those and apply them manually. So that's the Checkpoint article. Hey, we've got Mac. How are you? Just tuned in. Had to be somewhere, unfortunately. I've literally just started about 3 minutes ago, so you've not missed much yet, other than the Checkpoint 0-day. We have Foxit PDF Reader again. So I think I covered this either last week or the week before, and this is a different issue as far as I'm aware. So I've not had time to go through many of these, so I'm going through them as we do it. So Foxit PDF Reader has been discovered with a new privilege escalation vulnerability that allows a low privileged user to escalate their privilege. So it's been assigned with a CV of 2024-29072, and it's been given a rating of 8.2, so high. Affects multiple versions of the Foxit PDF Reader for Windows. Foxit has fixed it, and there's a security advisory. So affected versions, 2024.2.1, 25153 and earlier. So Foxit PDF Editor, previously named Foxit Phantom PDF, 2024.2.1, 25153, 2024.x versions, 2023.3. So I'm not going to list all them. If you are using it, then basically update it. This vulnerability affects Foxit Reader versions before 2024.2.0, 25138. So if you're running Foxit PDF Reader, this always seems to have security issues, this Foxit PDF. I seem to mention it quite a lot. Up next, Fortinet again. So this is with the ForiSIEM command injection vulnerability. This is a 10 out of 10. So it's about as bad as it gets. So proof of concept exploit has already been released for a critical vulnerability. The vulnerability CV 2024-23108 allows for remote, unauthenticated command injection. Command execution as root. So yeah, there's again, if you're running Fortinet, you should be used to updating and patching these things by now. So if you are, then the proof of concept exploit is already out there. So you need to get patching and view logs for any signs of compromise. Again, if you're a Fortinet user, you're probably used to this. I know I'm going through these quite quickly, but there is a lot. So multiple vulnerabilities found in the Cacti network monitoring tool. Critical remote code execution flaws. CV 2024-25641. This has a rating of 9.1, and it's arbitrary file issue. An authenticated adversary with templates permission. So that is a authenticated. So I'm not sure if that's the same one I covered last week. Again, if you're running Cacti, then get patching. I've never heard of this plugin before. WordPress plugins also seem to be a weekly topic to cover. So hackers exploit WordPress plugin to steal credit card data. So that's pretty bad. And this is to do with this obscure Desky snippets plugin. It can be used for malicious PHP injections. And that's been used basically to steal data out of WooCommerce. Now, there's a full write-up over here on gbhackers.com. I should start making the notes available for this when I do these, to put all the links to these. But at least I suppose bringing awareness is better than nothing. There's an advisory with dynamic DNS services in Fortinet or QNAP embedded devices exposes sensitive data. And this is a DNS thing, so if you're running Fortinet or QNAP, you might want to read over this article. Again, this is on GB Hackers. Is there any details on this? So this conjunction between DDNS and TLS implementation inadvertently allows threat actors to scale up their exploitation of these flaws, which increases the overall security risk customers face when they employ these built-in services. Web security requires the use of public key infrastructure, which is implemented by X509 certificates and encrypted connections through TLS. However, the presence of this public CT log certificate transparency focuses on preventing the issue of deceptive certificates by logging all certificates off the public registry. However, the presence of this public CT log also unveils some subdomains and fully qualified domain names to the global map, making it rather easy for attackers to map an organization's attack service and identify a number of attack vectors. So that's something to be aware of if you're using dynamic DNS services in either of those devices. Just while I was on the topic of, I'll come to Zscaler in a minute, but just while I was on the topic of WordPress plugins, I did receive a couple of alerts. The Post SMTP mailer plugin, email log, delivery failure notifications, and the best mail SMTP for WordPress, as the plugin's called. Versions prior to 2.9.3 and including It's an has authenticated SQL injection, so if you're using post SMTP mailer, you'll want to update that. And that's due to insufficient escaping, but it is an authenticated attack. And there's a problem with essential add-ons for Elementor Pro. The Essentials add-on for Elementor Pro, where is it? Is vulnerable to store cross-site scripting via the plugin's team member carousel widget in all Pro versions up to and including 5.18.14. Again, due to insufficient input sanitization and output escaping on, so makes it possible for authenticated. So stress again is authenticated users with contributor level access and above to inject web scripts in pages that will execute whenever a user accesses an injected page. I tried to bring that up because that's something I've literally just seen an alert on. So Zscaler. Client connector zero interaction privilege escalation vulnerability. This doesn't sound good. A new privilege escalation vulnerability has been discovered in Zscaler client connector, combining 3 different vulnerabilities. So the 3 vulnerabilities were associated with reverting password check, CVE 2023-41972, code execution, CVE 2023-41973, and file deletion. So, yeah, they don't sound good. Though these vulnerabilities are low level and bypass, combining them escalates a threat actor from a standard user privilege to a high privileged NT authority system service account on Windows. Now, these have been fixed. So, fix is to update the Zscaler client to the latest connector, to the latest versions. You can find this if you want to read more on it, but without diving deeply into it, I want to patch that. There's a lot of vulnerabilities in this week. TP-Link are in the news. This TP-Link Archer gaming router, the C5400X, is vulnerable to security flaws that could enable an unauthenticated remote attacker to execute commands on the device. These are quite popular devices, and again, it's not the first time I've seen these devices in the news. So command execution on the routers can lead to hijacking routers, data inception, changing DNS settings, and potentially breaching internal networks. Wow. And this has a score of 10.0. Again, doesn't get much worse than that. Mark says TP-Link kit is everywhere. It is. Guessing because of its price. So a score of 10. Researchers found that the RF test binary exposes a network service vulnerable to command injection and buffer overflows on TCP ports 88888, 88889, and 8890. So it runs a network listener on these ports to perform wireless interface self-assessment and related risks. Okay, I can't imagine they're exposed to the internet. It's got a 10 though. An attacker using shell meta characters can send specially crafted messages to these ports, potentially achieving command execution with elevated privileges. There's an example of it here. Is there a fix available? So, as I mentioned, ports are open and actively used by the RF test service on the router's default configuration. They impact all users of the device using vulnerable firmwares through to version 1.1.6. Wow. So struggling to speak here. Finally, the security update came last week on the 24th of May, so version 1.1.7, which addresses this CVA. The implemented fix basically discards any commands containing shell meta characters, so these are all filtered out in incoming messages. So as with the other vulnerabilities, this has been patched. So if you're running the TP-Link C5400X, go and get the latest firmware for it now before going any further. As a Gnome Remote Desktop vulnerability, lets attackers read login credentials. So there is an update for this. Where is it? So according to the report shared with Cybersecurity News, the local private key leak exists due to the fact the system daemon keeps running public SSL certificates and respective private keys in var lib Gnome Remote Desktop. The access to this directory is also restricted to and can only be accessed by the service user at Gnome Remote Desktop in mode 0700. However, any local user can intercept the private SSL key over the debugs interface, so not as critical as the other ones, but these have been fixed in the latest release of Gnome Remote Desktop, so if you are using it, it's worth patching. Where do we get up to next? Let me just bear with me a second while I fill the rest of these out. So TP-Link, Gnome. We've got Cisco Vultr. There's actually 2 articles covering this that I've highlighted for some reason. Might have wanted to talk about it twice. LangChain, JavaScript framework, the Google SEO algorithm leak. This is quite interesting. Where's my mouse pointer gone? Okay, so let's take a look at the Cisco Firepower vulnerability. Lets attackers launch SQL injection attacks. A critical vulnerability has been identified in Cisco Firepower Management Center, FMC. The software's web-based management interface could potentially out. So again, it's authenticated. It's worth patching anyway, as with any vulnerability. But it does need an authenticated user and it allows them to conduct SQL injection attacks on affected systems. We've got the CVE for it, 2024 20360. So the actual details of it. So an attacker needs at least read-only user credentials, can exploit this flaw by sending crafted SQL queries to the affected system, which can result in obtaining any data from the database, executing commands, elevating privilege to root. So Cisco has confirmed that Cisco Adaptive Security Appliance, ASA software, and Cisco Firepower Threat Defense, FTD software are not affected. Cisco has released patches to update this vulnerability. There's no workarounds available, so you just need to update. So if you're running that, again, update. Ivanti. Hackers are advertising Pulse Connect Secure VPN Remote Code Execution 0 day. So cybersecurity experts have identified a critical 0-day vulnerability in the Pulse Connect Secure VPN, widely used VPN solution. Allows for remote code execution. It's actively being exploited. So here's a post on the dark web. So the exploit has not only been identified, but is also being actively advertised on dark web forums, making it accessible to a broader range of malicious actors. Yeah, I suppose if you're running any Avanti stuff, you should be used to patching that as well. Oh, here's more of a explanation, I think. So information on these vulnerabilities on follow-on CVEs has evolved considerably since this blog was originally published on the 11th of January 2024. So that's how long these have been going on for. On January the 10th, 2 zero-day vulnerabilities are disclosed, which was authentication bypass in the web component of Ivanti Connect Secure, and command injection vulnerability again in Ivanti Connect Secure, so 9.x and 22.x, and Ivanti Pulse Secure that allows an authenticated administrator to send specifically crafted requests and execute commands on the appliance. 2 additional vulnerabilities were disclosed on the 31st of January 2024. This should highlight why you shouldn't be using these products. So, a 0-day server-side request forgery vulnerability, privilege escalation, again in the web component, and then again on February the 8th, there's another CVE. CVE 2024-2020-22024 is an XML external entity or XXE vulnerability in the SAML component. So it's been patched and you need to patch it. Again, it's Vultr, so I pretty much tell you to patch this stuff every week at this stage. There's a lot on this blog post. So February 2nd, February 8th, February 12th, March the 1st. I think I've said all I need to say about that. So LangChain JavaScript framework has a vulnerability in it that allows hackers to read files on the server. There's the CVE details. So security researchers have uncovered a high-risk vulnerability in LangChain JS framework. Could allow attackers to read files. So LangChain is a framework that makes it easier for developers to use large language models. It's not something I'm familiar with, which is why I'm just taking a second to read through it. Vulnerability is an AFR issue, improper input validation when handling user-supplied URLs. So by exploiting this flaw with server-side request forgery, an attacker can craft malicious URLs pointing to local files on the server, enabling them to access and read sensitive information they should not have access to. This doesn't. So yeah, if you're a developer and you're using this, then you might want to go and dive into this and check it further. There's proof of concept code demonstrating how an attacker can use it. So LangChain documentation lacks clear guidelines and precautions developers should take when receiving URLs from users. I mean, this is standard coding stuff. So mitigations: implement strict input validation, maintain a allowed domains list, make sure to deny and block access to sensitive URL schemes like file, FTP, and other things, and network segmentation. Yeah, I'm not totally familiar with that framework. I've never used it. Google have patched another 0-day vulnerability. So this is from yesterday. So it's not the one that I mentioned last week, I don't think, or the one previous to that. This is going to be, is it the V8 engine again? So update devices with the latest releases at the earliest convenience. So there's type confusion in the V8 component. This might have been the one that I discussed last week. Yeah, it is. So patch Google Chrome. This was an interesting hack. So hackers have backdoored courtroom video recording software with system hijacking malware. A vulnerability CV 2024-4978 has been identified in the JAVS viewer, version 8.3.7, a critical component for managing digital recordings in legal and government environments. So the installer for this version was backdoored, allowing attackers to seize control of systems, which could grant access to sensitive data and establish persistence on the network. Mitigations are re-image affected devices and reset all associated credentials, and then upgrade to the JAVS viewer 8.3.8 or later. So that's kind of interesting. So attackers compromised the official download page of JAVS and replaced the legitimate JAVS viewer installer with a malicious one. Not guilty. Yeah, that's an interesting hack. Hacking court systems and things. So the malware dropper was disguised as a software update for popular applications like Chrome, Firefox, and OneDrive, and it lasted several months from February through to May 2024. So it's eventually been removed. The malicious software was eventually removed by the attackers themselves. So they cleaned up after themselves as well. Maybe they got the CCTV surveillance on the court case they wanted and then just removed it. That's quite interesting. What have we got next? Let me just pull this up 1 second. So so I've covered the like what devices are vulnerable and services that you need to patch. Come on, let me get this last one. So these are more articles based around what people are doing. So hackers using Greatness phishing as a service tool to steal Microsoft 365 login credentials. So the new phishing as a service tool called Greatness is being used by criminals. I mean, stealing, hijacking 365 credentials is nothing new, neither are phishing emails. So detected in 2022, allows attackers to bypass security measures. Okay. So, yeah, so it's just phishing emails with a malicious email with a QR code inside a PDF. QR code contains a malicious URL. There's a captcha check, and then the phishing page is generated. So here's an example of the captcha. So now they use multi-layered evasion, including captchas and QR codes in PDFs. This is not like a new technique, but so it employs obfuscated content, including dynamically loaded JavaScript libraries. I mean, yeah, people generally just send PDFs with links in them anyway. A lot of them are like shortened and things, and you can go to a service like unshortened.it to paste your URL in, and it will clear it for you. So Max says, family member just bought £8 camera. £8. Warned him that the thing is not safe to connect to Wi-Fi. I have my own private connection, would never connect to my network. There was loads of issues with like baby cameras, things like that, and these cheaper ones. At least use a reputable camera. You don't know who's going to be accessing your network or watching you on that. I've seen cameras before where people have like accessed them remotely to view the contents of them. If I did, would at least be on its own VLAN, only accessible via VPN. Yeah, absolutely. With complete internet access blocked out, because cameras generally don't need to have internet access. £8. So that's obviously be wary of phishing emails, especially PDFs. It's not really feasible to block PDF documents, I guess. PDFs are common. I see them all the time now. People sending PDFs through just containing URLs saying click here, or a button that says click here. It's just one of those things. So hackers phish finance organizations using Trojan and Minesweeper Clone. What? Hackers are using code from a Python clone of Microsoft's Minesweeper game to hide malicious scripts in attacks on European and US financial organizations. Wow. Ukraine's CISA, MBU, and CERT-UA attribute the attacks to a threat actor tracked as UAC0188, who is using legitimate code to hide Python scripts that download and install SuperOps RMM. Oh, okay. So SuperOps RMM is a legitimate remote management software. How does this work? The attack begins with an email sent from the address support@patient-docs-mail.com impersonating a medical centre with the subject personal web archive of medical documents. The recipient downloads a 33 meg .scr file. So they should be blocked from running anyway. From the Dropbox link, so it's using Dropbox as well, which contains code from a Python clone of Minesweeper game, along with the malicious Python code that downloads additional scripts for a remote source. From a remote source, a notepad.com. So including Minesweeper code within the executable serves as a cover. Alright, okay. That was kind of confusing. So it just serves as a cover for the 28 meg base 64 encoded string containing the malicious code, so attempting it to make it appear harmless to security software. So SuperOps RMM is a legitimate tool and it's used all the time, but in this case attackers are using it. So that's just, again, a phishing attack. So just, be aware of what you're doing. So if you receive anything from this email address, obviously block it. Just be careful what you're clicking on. So .scr files, if you're using Office 365, you can just block files like that. Obviously you can block batch files, SCR files, and other files with malicious extensions. Because you're not really going to need to use them or receive them via email anyway. Fake antivirus websites delivering Windows and Android malware. I got that HMRC crypto phishing email. I was really surprised by it. It was the correct domain. That HMRC one was going round. if you get things like that, as long as it doesn't contain any sensitive data or anything like that, there's a, obviously you can set up your own sandbox. All these Any.Run, and it's free to use a public service on it. So let me just transition this out 1 second. I don't know what's going to appear when I type it in. Get off. Okay. This is a great tool. We use it a lot. Set up a sandbox, explode it inside, see what it does. Absolutely. I'm going to do a video on that actually, on how to set this up using either OPNsense and pfSense and Proxmox, and how you can create your own sandboxes for exploding malware. It's always fun to do. And then obviously you can use sysinternals tools or to see what's going on, or Wireshark to analyze the traffic. But this is a really great utility. So it's just app.any.run, and you can like put in a URL, or you can upload files. Now, if you're using the public version, don't upload anything that has any sensitive information in it whatsoever, because if we have a look here, can I make this a bit bigger? Wrong one. Get this one. So if we look at the public reports, the free version allows you to use a Windows 7 32-bit machine to upload files to, or upload or send URLs to, and it will open them. It's like, so obviously you can see there, this is obviously dodgy. So it's got this website here, and if we click on that, it does a full, so it takes screenshots as it's doing it, and if you highlight over the bottoms here where my mouse is, so you can see obviously someone's injected the URL, analyzed the URL, it's opened a browser, and we've got the URL and the browser address, and then ping successful. So that's pretty much all you get out of it. But if we have a look at this section here, you've got HTTP requests, connections, so you can see what connections are being made. Now obviously you're going to get some legitimate connections in there as well. So we've got this one here. You can look at DNS requests that are being made. And then we've got this threats tab. Microsoft attack simulation training in DNS lookup. Okay. So reference URL doc. So it is actually a Microsoft site. So this is a really, really handy utility, and you can like get text reports on it. I'm saying it's completely free to use it for. As long as you're only using public reports, so anything that you do stick in here, using the free version, you do new analysis, stick in what you want, but it will appear here. So whatever you run, if it's a file that contains sensitive information, then you're basically uploading this for anybody else to see as well. We can have a look at this one. We use this all the time. It's a really good tool. So threats, evil proxy connection chain, phishing. So, but it's great because, let's say, you can literally see what it's doing. So if like that, so that's the page that comes up. But like that HMRC attack that you mentioned, Mark, if you stick the URL in here, then obviously you can see it open. Oh, that's interesting. So open up preview full PDF here. And then, so it's asking for your Microsoft credentials, but you'll notice the URL at the top is definitely not Microsoft. Where's it gone? So that is a phishing. I think so. Any.Run is absolutely brilliant for just doing that, but I say I'm going to do a complete walkthrough on how to set up a virtual machine for exploding things in. I've seen a couple of people do them. The only reason I wanted to do it because I've seen a couple of people do them and say that it's completely. I like that. We'll keep that one. Take it for a spin. Looks good. It's absolutely yeah. We use it all the time for any dodgy stuff, but with the private account, you can show the pricing on it. You'd have to look it up, but with it's still here. So it's 1,300 quid a year. I like $109 a month. So as a company, we use it because just being able to do things that quickly, it's really good. So that's just any.run. And to get to the app version, it's just app.any.run where you can start submitting URLs to it. That's an awesome site, actually. So this is kind of why I brought that up. So beware of fake antivirus websites delivering Windows and Android malware. Did this not come up last week? This is going to be Google Ads again, isn't it? Fake antivirus websites are now a major cybersecurity threat, spreading malware to both Windows and Android. So these malicious sites are just cloning brands such as Avast, Bitdefender, Malwarebytes, and tricking users into downloading malicious software, so infected software. And a lot of these are spread via. Oh, so here's the examples of them. So here's the Avast one. The Bitdefender one. So they do look legitimate if you're not paying attention, or just be careful, especially when you're Googling things. Usually, I mean, if you're using a password manager or sites that you use regularly, bookmark them and use a bookmark to get to the sites as opposed to searching things, because it really doesn't say much if you're not paying attention to click on a malicious Google ad. And what do these do? I mean, it's malware at the end of the day, isn't it? So harvest victim information, browser data, and send it to a remote server. So and this is what you've got to be careful of if you're installing things like this, and they can get session keys for websites. Then you're kind of screwed. So it's stealer malware. So verify the source. Be wary of pop-ups. Check your suspicious URIs or URLs. Same thing. Use good security solutions. You're actually trying to find a security solution. That's probably why you're on the website in the first place. Interesting advice. Yeah, so just ensure you're getting the right link when you're Googling things. What have we got next? And yeah, when you're Googling things, just don't click on ads for any company. We're gonna get off. So there's just a couple of companies and organizations that have made it into the news, and this one's TicketMaster. This is going to be huge, and I haven't not to read this myself. 560 million user details and payment cards exposed. Shit, that's a lot. So these are Mark says that's been around forever. Fake antivirus PC cleanup tools. I fell victim to one of them when I was very young. So, yeah, it's a very old scam. Yeah, so fresh data, 560 million users. Data includes customers' full details, name, address, email and phone, ticket sales, event information, order details, CC detail, customer, credit card details are customer, the last four of the card, the expiration date. Wow. Yeah, Ticketmaster. This is going to be huge. In a dramatic turn of events, hackers have claimed a massive data breach involving Ticketmaster, allegedly exposing the details of 560 million users on their payment card information. So this claim has been catapulted. This claim has catapulted breach forums into the spotlight, providing the platform with the quick attention it needs to boost its numbers and reputation. So I don't know if it's true or not, but so according to the tweet from CyberKnow, the timing of this claim is particularly notable as breach forums had just been shut down by law enforcement just weeks ago. 560 million records. Wow, that's a lot. That, yeah. 1.3 terabytes of users and card details. So the claim has generated significant media hype. There are questions about its legitimacy. The evidence shared includes new and old customer information, suggesting that the data might be a compilation of various sources rather than a single breach. So that obviously raises doubts that 1.3 terabytes of data have been compromised. So it was shared on breach forums, but a similar post was found on exploit forum. So yeah, it's an identical claim. Upon reviewing the shared data, several points stand out. There are 54 email addresses in the currently shared data. None of the emails are linked to the current dates. They're all from 2018 or earlier. The emails appear to be a mix of UK and US addresses. I mean, Ticketmaster is massive here in the UK. So the new data from 2023-2024 seems to relate to ticket sale information and does not include any personal information. So at this stage, it's difficult to confirm or deny a claim's legitimacy. While some recent Ticketmaster data are exposed, it's unclear if the threat actors truly possess data on 560 million users. But yeah, obviously remain cautious. Yeah, the timing of that is quite. I guess we'll just keep an eye on that story because this was only posted today, so 29th of May. So we'll just keep an eye on this story and see how it unfolds. While I'm just. So yeah, apparently I don't like keep transitioning that over. Might as well just leave it. I was reading this before. So Google won't comment on a potentially massive leak of its search algorithm documentation. So a leak of 2,500 pages of internal documentation from Google shows how search operates. So it's obviously nobody know how Google ranks websites. It's long been a mystery. People keep trying to figure it out, especially optimization, search engine optimization companies that promise you that you can get you to first page on Google. Yeah, nobody can actually promise that, but a lot of companies do. So the leak shows thousands of pages from internal documents that appear to be an unprecedented look under the hood of how search works, and suggests that Google hasn't been entirely truthful about it for years. Yeah, that's really not surprising. So far, Google hasn't responded to the request for comment on the legitimacy of the documents. Rand Fishkin, who worked in SEO for more than a decade, says that the source shared 2,500 pages of documents with him and hopes that the reporting leak would counter the lies that Google employees had shared about how the search algorithm works. The documents outline Google's search API and break it down what information is available to employees, according to Fishkin. 2,500 pages. That's a huge ass document. So the details are dense and technical. So likely more legible to developers and SEO experts than the layperson. They're not necessarily proof that Google uses specific data and signals. It mentions search ranking. Rather, the leak outlines what data Google collects from web pages, sites, and searches, and offers indirect hints to SEO experts about what Google seems to care about. As SEO expert Mike King wrote in his overview of the documents, it's kind of repetitive. So, what kind of data Google collects, uses, which site Google elevates for sensitive topics like elections, how Google handles small websites, and more. Some information and documents appear to be in conflict with public statements by Google. But yeah, I'm not going to keep too much into this. So one example is whether Google Chrome data is used in ranking at all. Google representatives have repeatedly indicated that it doesn't use Chrome data to rank pages, but Chrome is specifically mentioned in sections about how websites appear in search. In the screenshot below, which are captured as an example, the links appearing below the main vogue.com URL may be created in part using Chrome data according to the documents. Yeah, if you want to read more up on that, you can do. That'd be interesting if that document has been exposed. Everybody be all over it, trying to rank sites to the top of Google. Next, we're just kind of down to. So, I wanted to bring this up anyway, and this is OPNsense. So this is on the OPNsense forums. If you follow my channel, you'll certainly know what OPNsense is. It's an open source firewall, fork pfSense, but they've released a roadmap which includes that they are updating it to. So version 24.7 will be based on FreeBSD 14.1. I think when I checked pfSense, the latest version was the CE version, not CE, Plus version was based on 15. I prefer the way these do it rather than using 15. And they're on the current supported version. Because pfSense jumped from 12 to 14 when 14 was not even released properly yet. I suppose if anyone knows what they're doing with FreeBSD, Netgate do. And then just the usual updates, PHP to 8.3, Python to 3.11. Again, they're working on replacing the Falcon framework, which is the MVC GUI web interface type of thing. So they're trying to do away with that and make it a lot faster. Login merge into logins, targets page. System trust migration to MVC, offering API support. So this is, yeah, it's just so the big part of that is FreeBSD 14.1. Got improvements to WireGuard, WireGuard QR code. I believe this was an update that was recently introduced to PFSense as well. State policy binding to originating interfaces. Now that's a nice add-on. IPsec and add dynamic VTI tunnel support. So obviously I've not done a video for OPNsense on that, but I have done one for PFSense for creating IPsec VTI tunnels. OpenVPN's adding some DCO support, and then just with services, DHC relay. Again, migrate to MVC and deprecate the ISC DHC relay. Unbound merge domain overrides into query forwarding. So I saw that tweeted the other day by ZenArmor, so figured I'd just bring it up quickly because we cover PFSense a lot here on this channel. And since I cover FreeBSD, might press my buttons, yep. So this is the 20th of the 5th. This won't break ZenArmor again, will it? I wonder. I'll definitely mention this when it comes out. That's why I started doing a lot of the should you update OPNsense videos, and people keep like just throwing comments at me like, why do you do stupid videos like that? Obviously you should update it. It's a firewall, not a toaster. If you update and you use the ZenArmor, it would have broke. So yeah, I will be covering that and keep an eye out for it. But in all fairness, ZenArmor do. If you follow ZenArmor, if you use it, if you follow them on Twitter, they do post pretty much straight away. So Ghost BSD, if you're a BSD user, free BSD user, Ghost BSD 24.4.1 has been released. They fixed it quick, to be frank. They did. I held off doing it, and I think it was done within about 8 hours or something. I think it was the same day. Ghost BSD improvements. IG4. I'm not gonna go through all these because I know maybe people don't use Ghost BSD. Oh, maybe they do. Time to update my Ghost BSD desktop. Hey Felix. Okay, yeah. So they've loaded the module for the network interfaces. No message on the admin user setup to warn the users. Signal desktop app. And again, it's packages. They've updated the so it's using Mate or Mate. Ghost BSD is quite handy. I do have it on a USB stick that I can boot off if I need to get into operating systems and things. It's just quite handy that you can burn it to a USB stick and it has an interface on it. So yeah, I've updated Mate, however you pronounce it, to 1.28.1. That's interesting. I thought it stopped working for a while. What's the use case for Ghost BSD? If you follow, there's a guy, I'll stick him in here. There's a link to him on my channel as well. Robo Nuggin. He's done a lot of videos on Ghost BSD. I rarely use it, as I say, if I need to boot off. It's like a live CD. So it just runs completely off a USB stick. I'm not familiar with it enough to know if you can install it. I'm guessing you can, but I know it. Its main use cases is like live CD and things. It's It's got really minimal requirements. So yeah, Felix will tell you better than I can. So Felix says when you want to use FreeBSD as a desktop but don't want to set it up from scratch. So yeah, it's a lot easier to get up and running, I suppose. I mean, FreeBSD does have a desktop installer port. Yeah, so it's like even like a live CD of Windows, I guess, at the end of the day. But it's very small and lightweight, and it comes with like what you need. So you can get the GUI up for the interface quite quickly. Obviously, it's got all the networking stuff and that built into it as well. I may do a video on it. To say, Robo Nuggy's done it. Kind of like duplicated content. I mean, there's nothing I can offer much any better than he can at the end of the day. Maybe I am. Maybe I am. Is Nomad the one that boots off the USB stick? Alright, yeah, you're right. I didn't realise it was sponsored by IX Systems and that as well. So I haven't really used it because obviously I'm a FreeBSD user. I've been using it for years, so it's maybe I'll do some videos on it just to familiarise myself with them then. So GhostBSD provides a simple desktop-orientated operating system based on FreeBSD with Mate and OS packages for simplicity. And it has a selection of commonly used software pre-installed. All right, so yeah, I must have been thinking of Nomad. It does easily install to a stick, though, doesn't it? This guy here.
Following in the footsteps of.
So, Robo Nuggy does a lot of BSD based videos, and he's worth a follow. That's not what I was doing anyway. It just appeared when I was searching for Nomad BSD. I don't have much use for straying away from the core FreeBSD. All right, yeah, I was. So as Felix said, I might be thinking of mixing up GhostBSD and Nomad BSD. So I was. So Nomad BSD is the one that's runs off a live file system, so you can install it on a USB stick. So Nomad BSD live system for USB flash drives based on FreeBSD. Has automatic hardware detection. It's configured to be used as a desktop system that works out of the box. Yeah, so that's one I've got on my USB stick. Sorry, I said mix them up because I don't really use them too much. I just use the core FreeBSD. But yeah, they're both interesting projects. Maybe I will cover them when I say he's done them. So I just wanted to bring that up while it was out. This one's interesting and concerning at the same time. So PayPal is building an ad network based on Venmo data. So PayPal will use your purchase information and shopping patterns to sell targeted ads. That's just what you want, isn't it? So PayPal's launched an advertising platform built on a trove of customer transaction data. The company's new advertising business will encompass purchase information and customer spending habits from PayPal and its sister app Venmo, according to the Wall Street Journal. And so he's brought on Mark Greffer, who's a former vice president of Uber Advertising. This statement here, that's just what you want to read in it. If you're someone who's buying products on the web, we know who is buying the products where, and we can leverage the data. He also said that PayPal will receive shopping data from customers using its credit cards in stores. I jumped on Facebook the other day to respond to a post, and I swear to God, a picture came up of a pair of trainers that I was wearing at the time. I was like, wow, what? there's got. Does it say anything about? So it's the advertising platform still in the early stages, and they don't have any definitive answers yet. But they will build transparent, easy to use privacy controls. So yeah, we'll see how that goes, I guess. So PayPal is far from the only company to sell ads based on transaction information. In January, a study from Consumer Reports revealed that Facebook gets information about users from thousands of different companies, including retailers like Walmart and Amazon. Wow. Yeah. It's kind of hard not to see ads these days, and this is not really, I don't know, I suppose it's IT related. YouTube's rolling out new playable games to all users. So once it was exclusive to YouTube Premium members, and it includes over 75 games that you can play directly on YouTube. I thought that was a new thing, in all fairness. I didn't even realise Premium members could do it. I've never tried to play a game on YouTube. Okay. Sticking with YouTube. I don't know how true this is. I mean, I use an ad blocker. I've got one running now. uBlock Origin. Now, I've just pulled up Robo Nuggy's YouTube channel. It started playing. So this says many users report that YouTube videos automatically skip to the end or muted video if they're using an ad blocker, making it impossible to watch the video. So this issue began yesterday. It does not appear to impact everyone. It's far from isolated, with affected users reporting that it affects all YouTube videos. Yeah, so if you're using, I don't know if anybody else has experienced that, but apparently if you use ad blockers, then the videos will either play on mute or skip to the end. It was first reported by 9to5 Google. Many users are accusing YouTube of intentionally causing this problem. I recall mentioning a couple of weeks ago that YouTube was going to do something like this with ad blockers. So yeah, it was a while ago. So in January, AdBlock and AdBlock Plus users reported performance issues, but Google did make a statement saying that they were going YouTube did make a statement saying that it was going to crack down on ad blockers. I remember covering that. I don't know why I'm mentioning this, just brought it up. So there's concern that WhatsApp chats are vulnerable to government monitoring. Switch to Signal. I use Signal. I wish I could get more people to it. I had a problem with ad blockers on YouTube, but it went away. Defeated for now. Yeah, I've not really noticed any issues with them, but it's interesting that so many people are saying this. Obviously, it must be a thing if it's been reported by a lot of people. They did say that they were cracking down on them, though. So, this WhatsApp article. Government may bypass WhatsApp encryption for monitoring. According to an internal Meta report, WhatsApp engineers have noticed severe security issue making WhatsApp users vulnerable to government monitoring. YouTube just kicked me off the stream because they detected unusual traffic coming from my network. Off this stream? What, right now? That can happen. I mean, if you watch it, you're probably not signed in. I mean, oh yeah, you obviously are. But like mobile phones and things, use CGNAT. I don't know if it's something to do with that. I mean, if you're at home and you've got your own IP address or something, that can happen. I say it does happen to me quite a lot on my phone, because obviously other people share the same IP address on a mobile network that you use. Are you running an ad blocker? Yeah, so according to an internal Meta report, WhatsApp engineers have noticed a severe security issue. I just read that once. The problem or lapse or security lapse isn't because of any technical vulnerability. They've assured that no backdoors or vulnerabilities exist in WhatsApp workings. However, the problem exists because of the current network monitoring techniques governments employ or may employ to monitor the. So Felix says yes, and I even have YouTube Premium. Oh, no CGNAT. I have IPv6 and public v4. Could be AdBlock Plus though. So, yeah, I mean that was specifically stating the videos are going on mute, but I mean you don't know what they're doing. YouTube is certainly trying to crack down on that. So yeah, if you're a WhatsApp user, so Mark says Signal's better. It's hard to get people to use it. Problem with Signal now though, it has questionable people on board with political views that should affect tech. Yeah, I use Signal. Like I say, it is hard to get people on it. And I like how they changed it, so you don't need to use your telephone number anymore. You can just create a username, and you can give your username out, so people don't need your phone number to talk with you. I've not seen the information on who's on board with it now, but I'll keep an eye on it. I mean, I donate to Signal myself. It's a great service. I don't like WhatsApp, but I have no choice because people insist on messaging me on it, even though it says switch to Signal. So, using network monitoring and traffic analysis, authorities can identify WhatsApp users, senders, and receivers alike and their locations, deducing whether the respective user is part of a WhatsApp group. So, the chat contents are not visible, obviously, to the encryption, but metadata can be gathered via traffic device for authorities to profile target users. Yeah, okay, I was getting a bit political, so use Signal. Felix, I mainly use Signal, but still have a WhatsApp on another phone, as more than 9% want to give the. Yeah, absolutely. I have to use it. Just I don't know. Might try and disappear off it completely, but customers insist on messaging me that way. I've covered a couple of times about industrial control systems being at risk recently, which shouldn't be exposed to the internet if you can at all help it. So Ransom Hub, a new ransomware group, has targeted the SCADA systems of a Spanish bioenergy plant. Well, that's not concerning, is it? Which highlights the critical security risks associated with industrial control systems. How are they accessing them? So while the exact size of the data breach remains unclear, varying between 15 gig and 400 gig, that's a huge ass variance. So the compromised system poses a significant risk to plants. I mean, yeah. Not most countries agree not to attack like critical infrastructure. Yeah, they're getting on. So they're targeting SCADA systems using stolen credentials that they bought on Russian forums from initial access brokers, which shows that ransomware groups are becoming more interested in industrial control system environments, especially those with virtual network computing devices. Okay. you could see that coming. I mean, people do like exposing all sorts of things to the internet. Fridges, hoovers, washing machines. Thing is, Signal is good for most things, but if the state really wants to, they can get into your phone in seconds if they're in proximity, probably remotely as well if they pay for the export chain. Oh yeah, there's no proof of it, but you know, nation state actors do have a hell of a lot of resources behind them, and if they want to get in, they generally will. I mean, it shows back with the SSH bug and the like compromising supply chain attacks and doing it over years and things like that. They can just be really slow and methodical about it. Okay, the last thing I'm going to cover. NSA releases guidance on zero trust maturity. I only put this in there because I was curious to read it myself, and when I was putting this information together, I said I'd not actually gone over it all. So it calculates how hopefully a company's adopted zero trust foundational concepts. Any.Run is back again. Okay, so that's the AI one, isn't it? So if you want to download that guidance and have a root through it, so they've released a cybersecurity information sheet. That's not going to link me to the article, is it? No. Top 10 best practices for cloud environments. Yeah, I'm not going to dive too much into this, because if you want to, everybody's aware of who the NSA are, and they do keep releasing a lot of documents recently. They're well worth a read. With that, it's 10 to 9. Thank you for... Trust me, if this I can do it. Trust me, if this guy can do it, then they can do it. iPhone 14, it took minutes. Yeah. Is that the one with the just sending messages and things? Kaspersky that went through the whole of that. That was quite an interesting write-up. Right, so Matt, Felix, thank you for joining me. Maybe see you next week. So I will be here again Wednesday, and we'll go over everything that you need to patch between now and then as well. So I just put this information out there. Just it's a quick way of compiling all the information together. It keeps me informed of what's going on as well. So I just bookmark this stuff and then read through it. But thank you both for joining me. It is much appreciated. And again, I say we'll be back next week, Wednesday, whatever date it is, at 7:30. Thank you.